Hi, I'm Ben from Second Dynasty, and we're back again not only with a brand new 3D printable spaceship, but even crew miniatures and our very own deck designer software. Introducing this. Alright, guys. Sorry, I just got the countdown started thinking, like, oh, we're gonna have a countdown. I realized getting everything into place, it actually had already counted down to zero. And we're like, where's it gone? Hi, guys, it's Ben here from Second Dynasty. We are live in our usual Friday sessions. I have with me on the line, of course, Zorama. Say hello, Zorama.
Hello. We meant to do that, honest.
Yeah, this is very well planned, well oiled, well executed operation. Hey, Colbrian, welcome back. Lord of the Space Poo. Yeah, that's me. Michael Flatley, Lord of the Space Poo. Uh, alright. COVID. No, I'm just not used to talking so much. Alright, guys. Big day for Star Wars news, but we're not working on a Star Wars themed ship today. Well, it kind of is a little bit more of a Star Wars themed ship today. A lot of you guys know that. Maybe I have the wrong lighting set up. Let's see. Yes, we do. We have the render set up on. Let me just take that off. I want these ones to be visible there, and then we want that and that to be hidden. Alright, there we go. This looks better, right? Okay. This is our Mighty Gunboat. You can see there's some pieces missing, and that's because this is a working file. Later today, we're going to be delving into one section of this ship. We're just kind of waiting for people to get into chat a little bit. Zorma's getting up the links as we speak for you guys that are watching this after the fact, where you can find our Discords, both mine and his, which is really good for getting 3D printing help. I know there's been a couple of people on the Facebook recently that are looking to fine-tune their printers. There's printing profiles as well for my stuff. And also, that's a great place, right, to learn more. Well, on our Discord is a great place to learn more about the upcoming lighting kits. A friendly reminder again that tomorrow is the last day to buy our light kit packages. Not that we're discontinuing them, but we're unable to offer the Kickstarter prices for the combined sets of the lighting kits for the Sleipnir ship. Those can now be found on My Mini Factory under campaigns, and then look for Starship 5. So if your orders are not in for that by the 12th, you will have missed out. We will still be offering the lighting kits, only they will be individualized. So the engine lighting kit, no changes, $15, and I believe the airlock display lighting kit. Previously, it had two light kit sets in it for the combined price of I think $22. They're going to be only sold separately now for I believe $15. Is that right, Zorama?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Yes, and we will be having some other lighting kits that are currently in development. In fact, in a few moments, we're going to take a look at some images of how the shuttle lighting kit is going. And then I've also been told by Azorama that he's started work on the single engine variant of the Sleipnir. So that's going to be exciting as well. I imagine you're going to get a very big light on that thing. Oh, do you guys like my Christmas tree?
Oh, we're gonna do a flickering light too. So we're gonna have like the flickering fusion and the whole 9 yards. We're gonna go all out on that one for the mono kit, by the way.
Speaking of lighting kits, I lit up my Sleipnir prototype there for Christmas. I thought it's an ideal tree. Not the best shot, but we'll I'm sure you guys will see that throughout the show. So today, I wonder how many people we've got on chat so far. Maybe not quite enough. Yeah, it's just a couple of people to begin with. So we'll just wait for some additional people to stream in, because I would like to throw. It's been a long time since we've actually asked the people in chat to give their input as to what we should work on today, and so once we get a few more people in chat, we're going to do that. We're going to preview what are the parts of there's a lot of work to do on the Cerberus. Honestly, it's about twice as much work as I had to do on the Pegasus, and the Pegasus was fairly print ready already. The Cerberus, the main challenge is these side wings here with their turrets. The turrets themselves, you can kind of see that they're already. Um, I don't know if I'm going to keep this configuration with the chairs in them, or whether or not we're going to have a standing configuration like a lot of World War II bombers. At least for the upper turrets. The lower turrets have been modified. I haven't test printed these yet. But if I go into wire mode, you can just see inside here there's a chair. Well, if I can select it. Yeah, it's tricky. Come on. I'll have to get in a bit closer, I think. Alright, there we go. So you can see the gunner's chair actually is designed to sort of rotate like so. So I spent a lot of time getting that sort of done. So it can't really be seen at the moment. Oh, Ben. Could have just moved the screen across. That makes more sense. So you guys can see that on the inside. So that was yesterday's work. So that took me a whole day just to get that going. Quite frustrating. These accordion landing gears are also quite messy. Hopefully they will print easier. We have the back landing gear here as well. These main engines are slightly bigger, but should be fine. I'm also working on these gun pods at the front, and they're quite exciting. What did I just do? There, focus. Right, if we get down in between the level here, you can actually see that it's when you rotate the turret, we're also going to make it so that the chair rotates. I think that's a kind of cool feature. So yeah, I've been adding detail to these. There's a few modifications, more than you think. And then this is a really messy area too with the side cannons. That's going to take quite a bit of development time. So we're not going to get tons done today. I'll warn you guys ahead of time. But we are going to. I'm going to offer you guys the chance to say what we're going to work on, assuming that we get a few more people into the chat.
Back down to 4.
Sorry?
We're back down to 4. I was going to ask about what to work on for my next lighting kit after the mono, too.
Well, we'll have to figure that out, I guess. I think the scout ship's a cool one to sort of do, but I would say go for the one you want to do. Or the one that people say they want to do. But let's talk lighting kits. Let's get over to the latest images. Hopefully they'll get up on your screen too soon, Zorima, so that you can comment on them and let us know exactly what we're kind of like looking at the moment.
Okay, well, this is the Alpha shuttle kit. What we're looking at here in the top left there is the top of the shuttle has a solid piece there, which, as you look at the pick right to its right, flips up. Normally it doesn't. I had to create a special hinge there to hide the switch so that you basically can have a switch on top for the lighting kits at the top without having to have it visible and in the way, artistically speaking. Directly to its right is the interior consoles for the pilot area, and I've installed a green LED on either side to basically light up, and we're going to put a slided panel of some sort or a pop-in panel for a diffuser in there. We're working on that at this point, and you can see that the light in the back lights up the crew area at the back so that your guys sitting in the back part of the shuttle can have an overhead light. There's wiring at the bottom left. As you can see where we have underneath that crew panel, that's where the battery hides. And you can see that the wiring goes up into the slot. They'll be shorter. This is just the test wiring. And you can see that from the very next picture to the right, bottom center, there's that little small slit. That's where those lights are coming from at that picture to give you a better idea of like how much light I have to let through just to get that brightness out. I mean, it's quite a bit. On the top, you can see the battery holder on the top. If you look at the bottom right, on the on the top of the Alpha shuttle, sorry, you'll see there's the battery holder that flips out and puts the battery in for the top lights. So there'll be a battery at the bottom and a battery at the top, lighting each of the things so we didn't have to wire down the deck so the ship tops can be pulled off or the bottom can be pulled separately and still light up the interior or the exterior accordingly. So that's what I've got done so far. We're going to do a testing where I'm going to get the wires cut to the right size now and work with our vendor to do that. And then they're going to mail that kit to Ben, who's going to test install it and prove whether or not anybody can get it installed. Right, Ben?
That's right. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
And after that's approved, then it'll be ready for release. So we're down to the last little bits of getting things done. I think probably within I don't know 4 to 8 weeks it'll be ready as far as release. Maybe much sooner, depending on what Ben's schedule is, because he's got a lot to do too with the main stuff like the Cerberus, which people want as well.
Yeah, the Cerberus, and then after that we have the Starfighter 2 collection, which I anticipate is going to take some time. And then, of course, we have to get into production on the Traveler stuff. Yeah, all right. Let's see. We still don't have a ton of people here yet. So, Colbrin, which part of the ship should we work on? I'm going to suggest either the front turret area, the side wing area, which is what I was working on just before we started streaming. We can work on the rear landing gear section, or I guess this. No, not the side turret. It's going to be too much of a pain in the ass. So those three areas: front turret, which is the same as the back turret, really. The secondary landing gear, or the side wings. Rear landing gear is the suggestion we've got. If there is anyone else out there that heard those suggestions, that is in the chat, that is lurking perhaps, now is your chance to have your say and say to Colbrin, no, you shall not choose.
Colbrin, that's it.
I think so too. So it looks like we're working on the rear landing gear, which is fine by me. It's all got to get done, right? So at the moment I've got the lights on. I am sort of like figuring out a cool way to slot these side engines on. The story behind this is Brian Jenkins, who painted the Sleipnir behind me, the not the Christmas tree one, but the other one there. There. Finger, do what I say. There. And it is going to be. Well, no, sorry. When I spoke to him about doing it, he said like, oh, instead of doing payments or whatnot, he would like some custom things done for the well, he printed this wonderful copy of the Pathfinder, so he wanted to sort of make it more like a World War II bomber. And in fact, there's even some additional modifications that'll come through with a sort of like wing section instead of an engine that will be getting done. And that was sort of the birth of this one. And I realized, oh, we're modifying this so much, we may as well, turn it into its own thing. And so I added the wings, and instead of the VTOL engines, I put in the, more Gozanti style side engines and top engines. And yeah, I'm very happy with the profile of that. I have test printed a few things, so I'll just zoom myself up here a little bit. Wow, that is a little too much.
Reuse some of those traveler ships.
Yeah, entirely possible. Although I don't think traveler turrets are actually manned. So we actually have an example here of one of the turrets printed out. Just the standard settings. This actually is in two parts. Let me just. Is it that way or this way? Maybe I should unclip it instead.
Gold scope.
You cut out there, sorry, Zorma.
Well, traveler, I do believe the turrets are definitely manned.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to break this. I'm trying to get it apart. But I was very happy. You know what? I'll show you guys on the 3D model, because that's a nice tight fit. Okay, so I'm still planning to provide screens so you can get them printed out if you really want to have them. I just usually go without. The top half actually connects using a clip hole here, but rather than you'll notice that there's not really the room to get through here. So we actually have a kind of elegant solution, I think, where we have one of the sliding clips. So it slides in like so, and it just slots down on top. And as you saw from, oh, I'm doing it again, aren't I? I'm not showing you my actual Maya screen. So it actually like clips off, and then you have this sliding clip that moves into place here. And as you could see, it's actually quite sturdy. I guess I should go back to the close up.
This face is very elegant.
All right. So yeah, I was very happy with the way that that turned out. The other thing I've worked on is, and this is the second official printout of a piece from the Cerberus. So I am test printing at the moment. This is one of the bulkheads. The main difference is that the top here is actually a separate part that just slots in. It might need a little bit more breathing room because you can see it's just sticking out just a tiny bit at the top. Nothing that will actually impact the ship too much. Um, but that follows the same way we've been doing the new airlocks, where the top part basically is a separate piece that just slots on, and that way we get out of having to use the supports on those doorways. I personally find pulling out the supports from these sort of, I don't know if we can get the focus here, but you can kind of see in here. Aside from that, I need to cut my nails. That we do have this sort of like diagonal patterning there, and it's really a pain in the ass to fish the supports out of. So, oh, apparently my face is very elegant. Nice. So I'm gonna just go back in on this. Those are the printouts so far. I can see this being used in the future as a replacement for all sort of Chimera style bulkheads. I wouldn't imagine it'll get done too soon. I have been working with Albin, and he's got another project at the moment, but it was coming back in February, hopefully to work on some of the Traveller stuff. But if he keeps working for me, I might get him to go back and do some of the updates of older stuff that I won't otherwise get time for. So we'll see how we go there. All right, let's switch back away from my face. Well, I guess I'm still here, but I'm just a tiny bit smaller. And we'll get back to the Maya scene. And so I'm going to count on you to read out the stuff that Colbury, our one viewer, says.
All right.
Oh wait, we've got a new one, Commander Rook. Oh, sorry, we're not meant to bring up viewers. It is a quiet day today. I expect it's partially because of the holiday season coming up. People are doing different things. Speaking of which, it's probably important to point out that obviously next Friday is fine, but the one after is Christmas Day, and the one after that is New Year's Day. And I don't know about you guys, but I intend to have a hangover those days, and also be spending it with well, I guess just at home with the wife, since Christmas is more or less cancelled. But still, we won't be streaming. So what we're talking about doing is streaming on Wednesday, the 23rd, and Wednesday the 30th. So that would be the day before Christmas Eve and the day before New Year's Eve. And we will also just make that session an hour later. So it'll be 3 p.m. Central European time. What's that, 9 a.m. your time, Zorima? East Coast US? So a little bit more manageable. And hopefully some of you guys actually might join us because you'll, presumably some of you will be off for Christmas. Hopefully, and won't be too busy. So you'll be able to join us. But yeah, just a heads up on that. We'll make sure there's some other updates in like our other social media as well, on the Discord and whatnot, so that you guys don't miss out. All right, that feels like the bad business is out of the way. So the idea is we need to work on these landing gear here, the smaller ones. The actual landing gear themselves, they should more or less be printable as it is. Um, these are awkward parts to print. They do need supports. There's no real way around them. But it is technically printable. So really, what we're looking to do is we have our rear ramp here, and I'm just going to kill the lights so that we can see everything nice and good. So the ramp comes down. What this is actually accomplishing is one of the issues with the Chimera is that it just gets, hey Blue, it just gets very top heavy. The middle sections are supported really well by the landing gear. The front, it's not too heavy on the back end. Although it might be a little bit worse with this turret, but still, this is a thinner version, and it should be supported fairly well. The back section, it's standing up here, but then we've got these massive heavy engines, and the heavier part is not at the back anymore. It's towards the back here, which is why I decided that if we just add some secondary landing gears here. Now that I look at it, there's not really enough room for this up under here either. So what we're going to also have to do is probably just narrow this a little bit. But the important thing is we'll have an extra point here to hold up the back, and we're really going to need it if we're going to have these 3 heavy engines on the back and this turret. So I am planning to print out this ship in entirety because I think it's really cool looking. I think the other issue we need to get around in the near future is figuring out the internal layout and whatnot. At the moment, I don't have any airlocks on it. I was thinking of maybe taking one of the airlocks off the Pegasus, the angled one, for up the top, because we do have 2 ramps, one at the front and one at the back. And I believe the idea is that this is more of a military patrol boat, so we do need something though that could potentially dock. It may even be something up on the top, or who knows. I am open to suggestions. But yeah,
you might want to explain why we're working on this product, why you're doing this again.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. So not long ago, we had a Kickstarter. I have switched things over to the Kickstarter, I hope. So Starship 5, it's my 5th Kickstarter. 3D printable Starship and miniatures. And yeah, we got a long way. This was more an expand style ship, vertical. But as one of the add-ons, we had these variants of my Starship 4 ship, the Chimera. So this one, the Chimera Pegasus, we did last week, or rather launched. I guess it was technically at the beginning of this week that it launched. So these are pre-renders, essentially. These are like my visualization of what the ship could look like. And we have the same for this one, the Cerberus. So when I make these images, I'm just making the bare bones exterior and then making it look pretty in Maya, and then rendering it out so you can see a concept of what the finished ship is supposed to look like. So you can see a few things like, the transparency in these forward turrets that I really can't get inside of Maya as it is. And we're doing versions 1, which is a standalone ship where you basically about $25-26. You get the complete ship. It'll be, let me switch back over so you can see. It'll be about this long, I think. Something like that. Maybe slightly longer. Well, it says there on the web page that it's about 28 inches long, 72 centimeters. So, it's a good size ship. But not as heavy or as intensive a project as, say, the Chimera, which is 90 centimeters, 3 feet long, and 5 kilos of plastic. I expect this is running at around 3.5 to 4 kilos of plastic. The Sleipnir behind me is 4.3. I measured something around that amount, and of course your mileage will vary, because 3D printers, they're fickle things, at least when I use them, and I'm sure other people have those issues as well. So that's the origin of this ship. But when I make these renders, that does not make a ship that's completely printable. That is actually a very lengthy process that, from the ground up, a brand new ship takes roughly 3 months to make. This was building on the parts from an existing ship. So the parts we're actually focusing on are chiefly concerning the parts that are new that we haven't made printable yet. So essentially, what we're working on for the remainder of this session. Unfortunately, not everyone got on in time, so Colbrian actually got ahead of the curve, and after we suggested working on the wings, the nose, or the rear landing gear, he chose the rear landing gear. So that's what we're working on. Yes, eat it. All right.
Vote in person to vote.
Landing gear is a master of all. So yeah, this is too wide to fit in there. That's one issue. And I mean, technically, it's like, you could ask who cares, but I guess I do. I mean, we're always taking a couple of liberties, like, can this all fit into there? I don't know. But it's close enough, you know. It's close enough that you're not actually going to measure it, right? Here we can definitely see that this is narrower than the rest of the ship, so we probably just want to cut off these sides here, I'd imagine, and that might be an acceptable compromise. We do have to do a couple of things. One thing we have to do is figure out how we're going to solve this door opening, because when we print it out, should we print it standing like so? We need supports under there. If we print it from the other end, we've got the same issue. We need something to hold these into place. And then we've also got to check and see if, you know, that there's physically room. And then the other thing I might like to do is actually, now that I think about it, it might be better to have this just slightly further out, like say here, because that'll just add some additional support. I don't think it affects the profile too much either. But let's just start by modifying the base here. I'm just going to take out the side here. Oh, press the wrong button. That hasn't happened before ever. Let's see. So I'm just going to go into Vertex Snap. This is Autodesk Maya. It is an expensive piece of software. Not one you need to have to model 3D parts for your 3D printer, but it is the one that I know how to use, and the one I'm most comfortable in. And I come from a professional animation and visualization background, so yeah, I forked out the, you know, several grand a year costs for the software, because this is my living now. But you could get Blender.
Back up.
Sorry?
Colburn's just saying, hey, you missed out for those people that came in late. We can do that again later at the end.
Sure. And we also need to remind people that we're getting close to the final day of those light kits again. Alright, so I'm just linking these back. Wait, I'll just take the bottom because
you use Blender for a lot of this. It's a free piece of software that, if you want to modify your STL files, is a recommended piece that you can use that's not too hard. There are people that are quite good at it on our boards. If you need help or suggestions, or, you know, later and you want to know how to do something that can help you with a lot of those questions.
You did cut out a little bit when you were saying it. Were you saying Blender or were you saying SketchUp?
Blender.
Yeah.
Sorry, Blender.
Blender is the completely free, sort of like open source version, I guess, of Maya and other 3D packages. So it's, you know, open source development. If you want to check out our last session, you can see a little bit of Blender when we were talking to the Calder Pickle. Which reminds me, I need to put that up. And I'm just at the same time, I'm going to do a couple of things here where I just soften them.
You're talking to Flavored Pickle. His followers are known as the Cult of Pickle.
Right, yes. That makes more sense. What flavor is the pickle?
It said it is optional that your choice what flavor the pickle might be.
Yeah. It really is kind of phallic, though, isn't it? You can't get around it.
Yeah, partially intentional at the time, but whatever.
All right.
He's a really good artist, though.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, speaking of that question, um, I did not see how we were supposed to get a hold of the mech on that because I still did not found that link to go to the mech to pick that thing
Oh,
up. You
yeah, I
said you
should
were going to
probably
release that.
describe that whole debacle. Okay, so the long and short of it is, there's no separate link. It's an add-on that's been added to everyone on the. You need to go to the pledge manager, and you can either go to the pledge manager and download it from there, or you can go to let's see, I want that on alum, or you can go to the what's it called? You can just go to your library and it should automatically be there because it's now actually included with every pledge level on the pledge manager. Let's see, we do need to. Let's see, I just want to make sure that is that. I'll just get a fresh window to my mini factory here and we can have a look at it. If you go into campaigns, I believe it's on page 2. And you can come down to Starship 5. So you can see it on here. This is our post campaign in case you're interested in the Kickstarter. And it's just here, and you should have a download button if you've had any pledge level, including just the deck designer. It should have been included. So you can download it from there, or you can go to My Library. It should be in My Library, and then you go into
How many renders were there?
campaigns.
That was a bunch of renders, didn't it?
Sorry?
A bunch of different versions too. It wasn't just the mech. It was like 5 or 6
Yeah, there's
versions or something.
five different versions of that mech. Yeah. So yeah, it's basically if you go to your oh, that's Starship 4. Do I have a Starship 5 one? I might. There we go. So you should be able to hopefully see it in here. Yeah, there it is. Vacuum loader mech. So you can just go to My Library and find it there. So there's a guide for you. All right. Wait. Instead of a door, could it look like the gear foot retracts flush with the fuselage? That could be a way around the door. Although I know in particular, Brian really liked the door. And I kind of got to admit I like the door as well. But there is another third option, and that's that we actually include the door as a sort of separate piece that could clip in. Because if we look at this base, we've actually got a fair bit of room in here, and I'm wondering if it's enough room for a clip. So it could be that, we actually cut out this section here, and then it clips into the base. Maybe even the base of the landing gear. I don't know, but I'm still considering moving it back a little bit for that additional bit of support. Or at least, I mean, there's plenty of room here for this to be moved forward as well, so it could look like it just slides. Damn it, we got the wrong selection tool. Today you should notice it saves a little bit quicker. I did go through the scene and sort of just erased a lot of unnecessary stuff. So, I mean, that's intersecting. Yeah, it's intersecting with the base of the door.
Hey, it looks like basically the base of the door and the next block.
Yeah, but I mean, there's also, and the next block. Not really. I think there's room in there, but what I don't like is, we're gonna have to modify this anyway because we don't. I don't think we got the depth for the actual. Oh yes, we do. This is a bit deep at the moment. So yeah, I'm thinking of moving this back a little bit to somewhere like here. The idea would be like when you stow it, it sort of like just moves back and then lifts, right? I think honestly the easier way would be to make this pad a part of the base. But if we don't, we can use the standard version of this as the, retracted version. Matter being the scale of this is approximately 28 millimeter, which would be, I think, 1 to 60.
You work with 28 millimeter mini in general.
It's actually arranged to work with like D&D scale, so 1.5 meters or 5 feet is 1 inch on the grid. Approximately 28 millimeters. Some people have pointed out that the beds and things like that are not really scaled well with the miniatures or perfectly, and yep, that's just how it is. You're looking for a balance.
Model when he's done printing it.
Yep. So yeah, I'm thinking we can maybe make it kind of look better when it's there. Could it be longer maybe? Because we could possibly extend this out a little bit more. So because I'd rather that this section was in line with there, but we could also make it so that the base. I thought this would be easy. All right. Let's unhide this again. So we're assuming we're going to keep in these side sections, but the difference here is also that we could potentially, let's see, is that separate? Yes, it is.
Thoughts on how to do or make changes in the model, like what you might suggest might look better. Ben's fully up to listening and giving feedback. He is interested in having any feedback you guys have. So that participate as much as you like or as little as you like.
So I think, oh, okay. What I'm going to do before I do anything else is I'm just going to duplicate this, move it to the side, and the reason for that is I've got a version to go back to if I need to. And then secondly, what I'm going to do now, I think, is I'm going to move the pivot point of this section just to stick it in this corner. Well, that's on the grid. We don't want that. We want it on the actual vertex point. And what I might do, actually, you know what? I want this scaled to the world, so I'm going to reset the pivot point to the world. And that actually, you can see up is up, and then left and right. Sorry, not left and right. X and Y and Z are all in the correct orientations. Because I've noticed that it, let's say we just want it right on this point here. You can sort of see, not well from, damn it, let's move this so we get some more perspectives. There's a bug in this scene which causes these cameras to reset for some reason. Let's say we want the top orthographic one, and what we really want is just to isolate this here. You can see here that the actual panel that comes out is sort of angled in, which is also why we're getting some intersection here. So I'm thinking one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to select these again, move the pivot point again. Actually, no, what am I doing? Sorry guys, it's a Friday. Plus I'm still all high on having just seen episode 7 of The Mandalorian. I'm going to shut up about it though. Episode 15, sorry. So what we're going to do is just rotate this slightly. And you see now this is a lot straighter. And you'll also see that we no longer have intersection happening. So we have a couple of options here to solve this. Changing the base. Let's get this big again. Because I'm thinking we might want to redo this whole back section. We know this is the right height. So yeah, I'm thinking, since we've got to have tons of supports on this anyway, I'm wondering if maybe we should have this as one piece that slots in, including the open doors. All right. I need some more drink. Like my Christmas tree, guys?
Okay, that's cool. And your painted model, like the same thing right next to it.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got my two Sleipner, the prototype and the, well, I guess they're both prototypes. All right. So yeah, what do we think? Slotting it in as one piece will probably be the tidier option. I'm just trying to think what the best angle to print this thing is, because it is horrible to print no matter what. And I have in the back of my head, I remember someone on the Discord had come up with like an optimal way of doing things, and I can't remember which way it was. I think maybe rotated like so.
Remember, and I can look.
Oh, it was ages ago, and the problem is I'm not sure which channel it was on. But sure,
I was gonna look it up, but no. Then
it might be under suggestions if anything. All right. Well, I guess you could do a search for landing gear. It might come up. So yeah, I think the best thing is to have this as one piece. But then the other thing we'll want to do is make sure that this cavity here is actually flat then. Because I believe... Oh, it is pretty flat. Yeah, that's flat. You can always check by going into scale and just scale in the Y and make sure it is. So that's perfectly flat, so that gives us a good surface. The issue, however, is if we... let's just duplicate this. I'll go back into shaded mode so you guys can see the clip holes. And, oh damn, they're all like that. That one's not. Alright, so we can grab one of these clip holes. This should be rotated at 45 degrees. And just took off all the geometry except for that. Let's center the pivot. This should rotate in 5 degrees. Freeze the transformations. So now we have, a standard clip port that we can use. And if I move this to the center there, and we want a clip hole in the top here, let's just switch to wireframe mode. And I'm going to rotate this. Oh, there we go. And I'm just going to move this over into the middle there, and we'll see what the issue is. We don't have enough room here. We've got some intersection going on. The two ways to solve it is to either go up here, which I don't really want to do, or to come down further here. And what we saw before is we don't actually need all that depth under here. So we could potentially do so. So let's just look at it from the side. We'd probably want something that ends about there. That'll give us some room there. And we'll probably add some detail later on so that there's like some paneling there, so that if you needed to access that landing gear, there could be some access panels. We do have that on some of the other pieces. So if we go by about this level, I think we'd want a couple of these to hold it into place. 2 should be enough. So I'm just going to widen that out there. And then before I go too further, I'm just going to duplicate that again and flip it 180 degrees so that you have the locks, and this will be the ones that go into the other one, to the actual landing gear. And then we're just going to move this down so that it should be in line, and this all should... I thought it would be at the same level. Why is it not? Oh, because it's supposed to be there. So you can see that all lines up nicely. So we could... let's see. I think we want this to be slightly more on this side, maybe. And let's see if we can select these again. Okay, all right. So we want to integrate these. The process of doing so, you select the 2 objects first, and then the last one which you want to retain the pivot point from. So, and then we just go mesh, and then combine. So first things first, now we can strip out this, and we just want to recreate that geometry either side. So I'm just going to use my bridge tool to get most of these.
Back a little more, says Colburn.
Sorry, you're just.
See, Master of Landing Gear, he demands you slide it back slightly more.
What, to the right?
You might want to slide them back a little more, as it says. That will be a bit thin to print. Yeah.
Oh, you mean through here at the top?
Yeah.
I don't think so. That's quite thick. Like there to there. That is let's get.
Which area do you want him to slide, or are you thinking? Not the top, he says.
Oh. Why would that be thin to print?
Where are you talking? What area? He's typing.
Yeah.
Left side, because it's too far close to the edge of that model.
To this.
Left side, right there. Your seam of the block is pretty close to it. A little thin.
Oh, that's not going to matter.
He's saying it'll be harder to.
That's not going to matter. That's all going to be solid.
Right, yeah, that right there. There's a block line coming through right there.
It really doesn't affect anything. That's all going to be printed solid. So I don't think you need to worry.
Hard. Okay.
Like if I export this now to Prusa Slicer, I'll do this real quick. Let's see. Export. Let's go into the. Yep. Cerberus there, and then we'll just. I forget which part this is. It's outer hole. Section A. Landing gear side or something. We'll rename it later. So I'm just going to move over my Prusa Slicer 2.3 screen here. I think you guys should be able to see it, right? So you can see the test print that I did earlier. Oops. So I'm just going to clear the plate here. And then I'm just going to add in the model. It's possible that it won't be manifold. But if we go to slice now, so it'll either be printed in this orientation without the door. I mean, this is going to have issues anyway. The optimal way to print this would actually be probably... Whoops, I keep doing that. I try to use the Maya controls.
They were the heaviest piece slit
probably like that if we extended these parts down instead. Because that way we can have this cavity, and if the door is separate, there'll still be bridging going on there. Like it's an awkward shape unless we actually cut it down there. Actually, that could be an option. It won't be as stable structurally, but let's put it back in the standard configuration. If we go to slice now, we don't have any issues whatsoever with those ports. Like, you can see that's all just solid, right? So we're not having any issues there. Don't know what that gap's about. We've clearly got some issues.
Anywhere, or supports the deck.
Yeah, empty layers detected. Right. Well, I haven't... Okay, yep. No, what you're probably seeing is that we've saved out the parts that are going to be in the opposite piece. But really, this is just the polygons. So, yeah, we're all good. But, we're all a part of... This is, we're all...
Giving Pete thumbs up.
Let's see. So, that's one option that we could potentially take, cut a line down there and actually print this so that the door is included, but it will be at the base of the next piece.
Idea, make it much easier for supports.
It would make it much easier for supports, but it would also decrease the structural integrity of the rear of the ship. So there's that. Um,
That's I think that may be I think that may be worth it though, considering the hardness of printing that piece otherwise.
yeah, I'm wondering if maybe it's better to take it out here because you've got then this piece will be supported between this
Oh, I
landing
see your
gear and that landing gear. So
yeah, I
I
see your
think
point.
that's
That's
the
not a bad
more
idea.
sensible way of doing it. So let's just see what that would look like split up. Would It would create some other issues because we're going to have to then have more open lock slots in behind these pieces. Um, like we'd have to have one up in here, which will affect the depth. Oh, actually, there's enough room. And then we'd have to have one up in here possibly, so or on this edge. So yeah, let's talk about splitting that. So I'm just gonna like we've already saved this, so we don't have to really concern ourselves with. We might even find the culprit of what's causing that issue if we're lucky. Let's see. Get out there, there, there. All the way down there, all the way down there. So we should have a line now if we drop back to wireframe mode that goes right around as a loop. Looks like it. So we're just going to go mesh tools, no sorry, edit mesh, detach first, and then if this is a real trial, if we double click here and it selects this section, we've done it right. Shit.
That's
Okay.
10 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, I realize. We're not going to get very far with this today, by the way, guys. It's just going to take forever. So you can see we actually have a gap here already, which is part of the issue. What I might do instead is select the polygons. So just go back, select these, that, and that. And I believe if we move back there, that looks like it's pretty much everything. Alright, so if we go to mesh, detach again, and double click this, yep, they're separate sides. So edit mesh, separate. So we've got this in two separate sections. So the idea now would be that this prints like so. And you've got the door there. We'll still have the issue with the overhang, but that is cleaner. And we may yet figure out a way to maybe get clever with that. We could also possibly angle this door or something like that, depending on the exact layout. Okay. So you guys can already see, like, we've been at this for like half an hour and we haven't got very far. So the vast majority of my work is really just this trial and error stuff. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting these clips that we set up before. We've got these snapping on the grid, and I'm just going to figure out how we're going to link these together. So this should all fit to the grid already, because I mean, I haven't got the grid visible, but let's see. So if we rotate this 90 degrees, come on, there we go. And then we'll rotate it in this orientation 90 degrees. We'll have this clip hole here. And if we center it, that'll give us better structural stability. We'll want another one maybe there, and another one maybe there. And this should work well because this piece that we've taken out should be about an inch wide. So let's see. Let's duplicate this. Move one. Actually, we can probably match this one again to the original orientation. So let's see if it kept that information. Wait, where did my... There we go. So if I go 0, and we come out here again, rotate this 45 degrees. We should, in theory, be able to move this so it's... Oh, that was so close. So what I'm actually going to do is move the pivot point in the corner. get it so that it's aligned with that, and then we're just going to make it flip back to here. Oh, okay. We've got some intersection there, so we won't be able to have it exactly there anyway. All right. I just thought what we could possibly do is have this so it goes straight through, and that way you could have one of the intersecting like longer clips that would help increase the structural integrity even more. But I think, with an extra landing gear, we're going to be fine. So let's forget that one. We'll just move it up on the grid a little bit higher. Something like that. That's a good 3 or 4 millimeters there. Plenty of layers deep. And we haven't got any intersection happening down there. And then I think we'll also, since we really want this to be well supported, we'll put a third one up here somewhere. That should be fine. And then, of course, oh shit, did we actually, damn it. Oh, I know what it is. I thought for a second I deleted that clip, but it's just that it wasn't on the visible on the layer. So I'm just going to combine these ones. I'm going to duplicate them, and then we want to flip it in this orientation. So that'll be the blue one. That's the Z. We can kind of see down in the bottom corner underneath me, I guess. You can see this tiny little thing there which has the hints. The Y is the up direction, the X is towards us, and the Z is to our left. So I'm going to move me back. And let's get these pieces solid and together as our goal for the end of the session. And then I think we'll finish it there because I'm going to be at this for hours. So we've duplicated this already. What we want to do here is then mirror it in the Z, because that's our, to the left-hand side direction. So I'm just going to put the scale at -1. And you can see that these are all turned black, and that indicates that we have this negative here. I don't have view both sides on at the moment, which is why it's invisible on the inside, which may have also led to some of your confusion, Krolbrian. Okay, so what I can solve this with is a freeze transformations that has flipped out our scale Z back to the positive, and now it looks right. So now that I'm happy with this, going to select these, mesh, combine. The history is now deleted, and then we'll just have to like grab these edges. Oops, that's the wrong one. And we want to recreate the geometry. So instead of grabbing absolutely everything, what I can do here is a combination of just selecting the most important parts I want to fit together, and then we can do a fill hole, and that will fill the hole, or all the holes in between. So technically we've actually got enough to make it work now, so let's demonstrate that. See, it has selected this odd shape. We go fill hole, that creates an n-gon, that's a polygon with more than 4 sides. We don't want this, it's bad for printing, so we needed to triangulate this. And that will tell Prusa Slicer or Cura or whatever, hey, do it this way, and it doesn't leave anything up to a guess, which means we should in theory get the same prints on different slices. So this part should now be technically complete, aside from the fact that I'm really not, like, this is a very loose way of dealing with things, and technically I think it is actually a separate object at this point. So we're definitely going to have to make sure that, we fix that so it's flat. I'll demonstrate that in just a sec. So let's just organize this by date so we can just go over the top of that. Very crude names at the moment. Alright, so we've got our slots in there as well, and they should be aligned. So mesh, combine, delete the history, and then we're going to bridge. So we'll be finishing up in just a minute or two. As I'm working, I'll remind you guys, next week we'll be streaming again on Friday at the usual time, which is 2 p.m. Central European Time, or 8 a.m. East Coast US. The week after, instead of a Friday, we're going to stream on the Wednesday, the 23rd at 9 a.m. East Coast US or 3 p.m. European Central Time. And again on the 30th. That is the day before Christmas Eve and the day before New Year's Eve. So we can keep things rolling even when people are at home on holidays and whatnot. Or vacation, as you Yanks might say.
Vacation.
Unless you're retired.
Every day's a vacation.
Is it? I don't know. My in-laws are retired, and it's like it takes a year, and then you forget what it's like for other people to work. Let's see. Let's get this all done, and then we should hopefully be able to see the fruits of it. Oh, okay. That wasn't closing. Let's see why. This is an issue here.
Culvert's not returning.
Well, we're not allowed to use the R word anymore.
I think he was retired, but
all right. Okay, let's export this again, and we'll just call this number 2. And I've really got to remember to forget to put that in. So you can chastise me if I don't. Let's go reload from disk. Oh, it got a lot shorter, didn't it? But you can see if I slice this now, we've actually got a weird kind of overhang happening here. In fact, all of that blue is overhang because the only part hitting is this tiny bit there. So you can see here from the band around it. So all we need to do is on the model just lift these polygons up. Technically, it won't be the same shape that it's being lifted from anymore. Oh wow, we've still got this issue. We'll have to look into that. But we also need our other part. So let's get number 2 in. That's this one. And it would be oriented this way instead. So you have your section that connects into the base of the ship there, and then we've got these 3 slots. What intersection is that? Oh, okay. We may need to move this over slightly because I forgot that there's actually one there. So I'll take that into consideration. But, let's call this for now. Zorma, is there anything you want to add before we finish up?
Yes, reminder about light kits being no longer available after the 12th. What I mean by that is that the bonus packages where you're packaging several light kits together for a discount will no longer be available. You'll still be able to buy them on My Mini Factory? Is that what we're doing? Right?
But the singles, yes. My manufacturing, I don't know if you're just going to allow sales directly on that other side as well, or what the deal is.
Yeah, we are.
Okay,
but
so
I have to get the information out. That'd be Dave's site, but we still have to get that
You
published.
can get them on my manufacturing, but I'd almost recommend getting them on Dave's site because that way you can handle the shipping at the same time, right?
Correct. Because there's no way to do shipping by Mini Factory yet because they don't do shipping stuff.
They will be building out that functionality in the future, but the other thing too is that Dave's site is also the manufacturer, so
It simplifies things for everybody.
it's better for everyone. And if you do happen to have issues, then you also have a direct line back to the manufacturers. So there is that benefit.
For that, we'll be on the Discord eventually in the not so distant future once they've been set up. But I don't think they're set up yet, so I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. But in any case, yeah, we'll basically just be making that those discounted kits unavailable in the pledge manager. So I'm gonna fix up that. I better fix up this slot straight away, actually, because if I forget that, it may end
The
up
link
staying in.
provided in there. You get the 2 Discords for my Discord, which is for printer help, and Ben's Discord, which is for interfacing about questions or having problems with the files or whatever, as well as like suggestions on new artwork that you think might be good. Below that is Ben's Discord, web link to his main page and we also have the My Factory post, which is where the best place is to pick stuff up. And at the very bottom, you'll see a link to my Patreon area, which is where you can get free profiles for Ben's stuff already tested, the same stuff he uses to test his profiles.
That's
his
correct. Indeed. And I am one of your backers.
Oh, yeah, and those are available in um, the pure slicer. Say it.
Cura?
Uh,
Producer
there it
Slicer.
is. Thanks. My brain's locking it out. I'm old.
It happens to us all. Even the best of us.
Pure slicer. There it is. Get my brain around it. Okay.
All right, guys, let's finish this up one last time. We
Oh yeah.
can have a look.
The filament. Hold on. One thing.
Yes.
There is on my Discord, if you stop up by and you check in, there is a giveaway for filament and a filament dryer or wham bam plate that you can enter in, as well as on Christmas Eve, we are doing a video 3-hour movie watch-a-thon, and every
Okay.
hour we're going to be doing giveaways for free filament or other prizes.
That's a pretty good deal. Is this going to be on Twitch or on Discord?
On the Discord. Only on Discord, and you have to basically we'll be playing it on Discord and having live chat and stuff, razzing the movie or whatever accordingly.
So free 3D printing stuff. You hear that, guys?
Free stuff.
Don't miss out on that. What Christmas films are you going to watch? Die Hard?
We know we know for sure that there's going to be a Grinch one. I'm not sure which version of the Grinch we're watching yet. There was discussion on change. People are back and forth on that, and a couple other movies which to be named. I don't remember what they all are. Corbin, do you remember any of those? Because I think you were in that discussion group.
Oh, there's
If
the
not,
whole.
that's cool.
Look at that.
If you can remember, type it in the box. Anyway, oh yeah, Princess Bride, Grinch, and I can't remember what there was a third one we picked out. But anyway, the point is that every hour we're going to stop about an hour into the movies, and we're going to basically in Serenity, that's right, and we're going to do giveaways for those themed based on the movie theoretically. One of the items is definitely going to be a giveaway of a free model of the Grinch in a Christmas theme that is being done by Flavored Pickle.
All right. Nice. There you go. All right. Lots of flavor. I'm going to keep working on the Cerberus. We'll have another update next week where hopefully we'll be getting quite close. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's see you next week. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Thank you, Zorma, as usual, for being my wingman. And we will see you guys next time. Oh, Krolbrian. That's too nice. I can't say it back. It wouldn't make me a good cult leader. Sorry. Bye.
He's the cult of poo.